Hi, Santosh. Thank you so much for taking out time to interview with us. For the viewers, may we request you to please share your journey and your story in your own words?
Sure, happy to be here. So I am Santosh. I have done my graduation from Birla Institute of Technology. After graduation, I worked with Larsen& and Toubro Construction for the last 4 to 5 years. I started my journey as a site supervisor and scaled up to the ranks of assistant manager there.
Mhm.
I prepared for CAT during my undergrad and I got a decent score. I got admits from the newer colleges like IIM, Ranchi and all. But
Okay.
at that point, I felt having a more hands-on experience would be better rather than going for MBA directly. So
Right.
I have chosen to like work with the industry.
Okay.
Then I gave GMAT like 2 years ago. Currently doing my executive MBA from ISB Hyderabad.
That's amazing. So, in your opinion, what are a few factors or actions you took that made all the difference?
Sure. So generally, I would like to talk more about GMAT since mostly working professionals take GMAT since all the executive MBA programs which take GMAT, the time they have will be very less. So what worked for me, what I feel worked for me rather than my friends is they like take 6 months or something. They prepare for 1 2 months. They leave after for 2 3 months again. So they break and make up kind of session. They'll do it for around a year. Rather
Right.
than that, I would feel like even studying for just 3 months, but continuously, just like 1 2 hours every day,
Mm-hmm.
that itself would have more impact. That
Right.
actually helped me a lot. The other thing is maintaining a journal of sorts wherein you practice all the quant and verbal in one book. So you
Right.
can go back and recheck your work and see where you're making mistake so that you don't make repeated mistakes at least.
Right.
Those two made a lot of difference.
Okay. So, what were the main GMAT resources that you used during your preparation, and what advice will you give to the future candidate?
Sure, it might be my opinion, but I was actually good in quant, so I did not use any resources as such. I just used the official guide for
Right.
just seeing what is the syllabus and all. But for verbal, I needed much help. I
Okay.
used crack verbal and EGMAT courses for the concepts. And for
Right.
practice, GMAT Club is also a great source for questions. Experts Global also has some free resources. I used all of them actually.
Okay, that's great. So, what are your thoughts about mock tests? And according to you, how many mocks and at what frequency should aspirants take the mock test?
So what worked for me was everyone should give a mock even before the start of their preparation, just
Okay.
to assess where they stand.
Right.
Say for 800 you got 540 or something, and everyone aims for a different score. And say you're aiming for 720. So general rule of thumb is you have to put in those many hours of preparation. So for first 1 2 months you generally prepare everything, and you start with section wise mocks. Just take mocks for verbal, just take mocks for quant, and after like say 3 months. Where you want to put in 75% of your like expected effort, then you should start giving mocks. And there is no fixed number of mocks, I would say, but whenever you get a like start getting a score of plus or minus 10 or 20, then you of your targeted score, I think
Mhm.
you should stop taking mocks and you should take the real exam.
All right. Okay. So, what would you like to say about your experiences and learnings from managing the application timelines?
Sure, I would recommend all the future MBA applicants to start application process as early as possible, especially for some few foreign colleges. They ask for graduate transcripts and all, which
Right.
might be very hard to procure. If it is
Mm-hmm.
something is in your hand, it's a different story. But if you need something from your like what you have done so 5 years ago college, those
Mm-hmm.
things are like very hard to procure. And even filling those application forms also takes a lot of time.
Right.
Some are very comprehensive forms.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as early and like takes time. Don't try fill in hurry. You might have a chance of missing something or missing something, filling something in wrong, like some
Right.
figures or something, and you have to be able to safeguard, or you might be able to like in the interview process. That's application form is something very important.
Right. Okay. So, can you please describe your interview experience with the B school?
Sure. Firstly, I wanted to stay in India only, so I haven't applied for any foreign based schools. I applied only for IIM ABC,
Okay.
XLRI, and ISB. Got in IIM Bangalore, XLRI, and ISB.
That's
Chose
amazing.
ISB. So, firstly, on the holistic view, all the interviews were more of a conversation style rather than a traditional Q&A. I read in GMAT Club and all that IMC will be a bit more grilling of sort, but haven't personally I haven't felt it.
All
It was more
right.
of a conversation type. So now I'm an ISB alum. I know that what they're trying to see is, are you a good fit for the school or not? Does the school also help the cohort also get something from you, and can you get something from it? So they're
Right.
trying to assess you. Like be as open as possible. In my I think ISB interview, they asked me to change, or they asked me to think to change my post MBA goals also. because it fits more to the schools, like more practically, since they have more experience. Practically, so more of a conversation actually. I never felt tensed or anything.
And that's really nice and it's quite interesting. So, can you tell us more about your MBA experience at ISB?
Sure, it's actually much better than we expected considering the COVID scenario. MBA it's not just the textbook or anything, because in ISB there are like two campuses, Hyderabad and Mohali. Hyderabad has 600 people and Mohali has around 300 people. So you get to learn a lot from your cohort, not just the professors. So having a campus life, like staying inside the campus, plays a lot of role. Even in the parties also, you meet interesting people. You get to learn about their life. I have few friends who are from army, doctors, and few of scientists who worked in ISRO, Sriharikota, just to know like what kind of background they're coming from, what challenges they faced, and all the discussions which we have when we're solving some cases or anything also, the perspective is very different. You get to see the same thing in a very different lens. So that's something I am actually very happy with ISB and general MBA also. This comes in with the diversity, and as we're going back to the interview also, that's what they look for also. Can you bring a diversified perspective to the discussion? Can you add something to the discussion? It's something which the interview process also look.
Okay, so it's quite a wholesome experience. So, what would you like to say about job search experience during MBA, and what tips would you give to the future candidate?
Again, giving it holistically, Indian B schools has their campus placements, but if you're going for foreign B schools, then it's a different story. Then you have to go for a network-based search. So let's stick to the Indian B schools. So in ISB also, we have placement days wherein firstly a company comes and gives its job description and what is the eligibility criteria. If you like those, you apply for them by submitting your CV. And if they like you and if they think you're a good fit for the company, they'll shortlist you. And then they'll call you for an interview. As I was telling you, I come from operations background. I was working with L&T. So I was targeting more of consulting and general management roles. I also applied for those roles only. Got a few good shortlists in both consulting and Genman.
Okay, that's amazing.
And happy to say that I got selected for McKinsey consult.
That's really nice. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Okay. So, can you tell us how the entire pre-application experience as well as your MBA experience has contributed to your growth?
Sure. Actually, I would like to thank Experts Global also for this. Their profile questionnaire was so comprehensive. I have to think about my life a lot. Actually, it's around like 6,000 words I have written about myself for like 21 questions. I think I've written it back in 2020.
Right.
So it's so comprehensive. You have to think about everything. And even now when I'm preparing for my placements also, behavioral questions like tell me about yourself. Is there any like difficulty you have faced in the work life professionally? Is there any dilemma situation? All those things I already had answered. I had already prepared while preparing for the pre-MBA.
Right.
Thanks for the Expert Global. And that is one of the reason I recommend Expert Global to my friends also, because we have to do work ourselves. We have to introspect on the life, our life. That would make us even a better person. We will be knowing what need to be done. Where did I make a mistake also? Thinking back, even we can learn a lot from our mistakes also. Writing those answers and all those things made me, like it helped me even in the campus placement process.
Okay, and that's really nice. So, according to you, what are a few common mistakes that all the GMAT aspirants must avoid?
Since GMAT, first of all, after giving the mock, you will know that where you stand. Once you know where you stand, you have to like put in the effort. Like if you have to put in, for me, the verbal was the major issue. So I had to put in a lot of effort in verbal compared to the quant. Rather than going for a equal like time giving, you need to put in where the time is required actually. The other thing is keep on checking your mistakes. It's okay to make new mistakes, but it's not okay to make this repeated mistake because you haven't learned anything from it. You're practicing something because you have to learn something.
That's true.
What really helped me was the timing. You have to time yourself even when you're preparing also. So it's not just if you're able to solve the problem or not. If you should be able to solve the problem in time. So like if you sit for on a problem like for 20 minutes, you might solve it, but that's not the end goal, right? You should have a timing even while you're practicing also, not just during a mocks or anything.
Right.
So that is something which should be used.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are a few suggestions that you will give to all the future aspirants watching this video in their complete journey of MBA applications and the preparation?
Sure. So just to summarize what we have already discussed, so as I was saying, continuous 3 months preparation is much better than like make and break of 6 months preparation. Even for the mock test, also start with the first mock test and to assess where you stand. And then based on that, you will know what quantum of time has to be given for quant or verbal. And after 2-3 months, start giving mocks. So whenever you get a mock of plus or minus 20 or like 10, then stop giving mocks and book your exam. There is one more school of thought here actually, is like book a test after 3 months that will give you a focus, end date focus. Then you will start preparing more seriously because nobody want to shell out 15-20K. If you think you lack focus, or if you think something, you need a fixed target, booking a date after 3 months, that also helps a lot. As I was also saying, maintaining a journal to see what mistakes you're doing, that's something you could do.
Right.
So coming to the applications part, start application as early as possible. In the selection of B schools also, you have to be optimistic, like the targeted B school. You should be realistic and pessimistic also, like safety schools, that also. And rejections are okay. Even getting low score is also okay. And one good thing or bad thing is you can give GMAT as many times you want, keeping some caveats aside. And that summarizes it.
Okay, that's really nice. And thank you so much, Santosh, for giving your suggestions to all the future aspirants and also sharing your journey with us. Thank you for interviewing with us today.
Sure,
Yeah.
Dikshita. Pleasure is mine.
Thank you. Take care.
Sure. Bye.
Bye.